All right, what's going on, everyone? What we're installing now are the switch suspension hood hinges for a 67 to 72 C10 pickup truck. And there are instructions if you go on their website. There's not any pictures of an install, but I think it was Truck Magazine. Was it Truck Magazine, Blake, that website? The pictures were on? Yeah, what's the website on the top? Streettruck.com. They have a pretty good pictorial. But what we did so far, we removed the wipers, which they're kind of a little bit of a pain. There's a clip. They're splined, obviously, but up under here, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, this little clip, you need to depress that with a flathead screwdriver and then pull up. The driver's side on mine, the clip is there. The passenger side, it was not. So someone had it off at some point or it broke off. But, so first step is to remove those. Once those are removed, you can take the cowl off. There's a series of screws across the top here. There is a bolt here on that side, and then one from the inside of the door on both sides. So that's easy. But once that's done, then you find center, which I don't know if you guys can see that over there. You should be able to. This mark right here was my center mark. Okay. And me and Blake did was measure from this section over, found center, and then from the center you measure out 23 inches and draw a vertical line right here. All right, so once that line is drawn and vertical, and the way I found that was simply my air cleaner over here. I took a square, and you could use an angle finder, I guess, but I sat my level on top of my air cleaner. The ball was just about level, but it was favoring the left side slightly. So once I had my 23-inch mark from center, I held this up vertical, got my ball where I needed, and I drew a vertical line. Okay, so that gave me that slit. That's where your hinge arm is going to come. Your hinge arm is going to come through this slot that we're going to remove. Okay. So the next step was made a template out of a cardboard box. The tape's on there to help me locate that. All right. Put that on there like that. So that center line that you made goes in the center of that slot. So when you make this template, take your time making the template. You make the template based off the other hinge piece that this mounts to, which is the front side of this. This gets pinched in there. This is the back. It drops in. This plate, which we made a template of, will go here, and it'll pinch these two together through this firewall. All right. The other thing worth noting, which I did not see in the written instructions, which, yeah, I think it was there, but there is a left and right. This is the passenger side. Obviously your firewall and your cowl comes across and it dips over here, all right? As you can see on this side right here, it's subtle, but this side is longer and this side is shorter, so it fits that radius, okay? So make sure you know which side goes on which side. This side is the passenger side, all right? So based on that, the only thing that you want to take the time with, or one of the things you want to take the time with, is one, making the template, but secondly, the placement of this left and right, but even more importantly, up and down. All right. There's a raised lip right here. There's a gully right here. This gully matches up with the gully back in here. This side is about a 1/16 higher. Oh, I might be lying to you. Let me look at that again. Blake, will you make sure your brothers don't come in here yelling? I just heard them. Yeah, this outside has a little bit of a lip. It's about a 1/16 higher, okay? So take that into account when you're placing this template. So the instructions say that this is designed, obviously there's bolt holes in the bottom here, to sit flush on the ground up there. So if this is a little bit higher, it's not going to line up, it's not going to seat properly. So what we need to do is make sure that this template is all the way flush on the bottom there so it matches. The way I did that was set my depth here, set my depth there, and made sure it was the same. All right. So once that's done, and I used a center punch, a 5/16 inch center punch to get my holes on the template, and then I had a knockout punch that punches holes at 5/16 to get these exactly where I need them, and to double check that and make sure my spacing's right, you can lay that on there, make sure everything lines up. So next step, now that we have that done, is to center punch these, drill our holes. We're gonna drill a 9/16 hole at the top and the bottom of that slot, and then take our little mini pneumatic reciprocating saw and knock those slots out. The other holes that need drilled, jeez. What was that?
Truck.
Is that Houston town or McConnellsburg? The other thing that needs drilled are these holes that go on the bottom back in here. So I'm assuming once I locate these, my next step is to drill them through, and then you repeat it for both sides. So that's where we're at. We're ready to start cutting some metal. Hope that all makes sense. All right, so I'm buttoning up one side right now, the hood hinges, and it's turning out pretty darn good. Took me, I don't know, probably longer than it should have, only because I'm trying to be super cautious. You know, once you cut a lot of this stuff away, yes, you can re-weld it and put it back, but you know, you're gonna have a lot of time involved in something like that. So what we did, and where I have it right now, let me get the camera moved over here. What we got is the hinge. Let me turn this. Get some extra light in here too so you guys can see what's going on. Not rocket science, just got to think a little bit about it. So I ended up using my template to get me close, but what I'll do is tell you I got my template close and I drilled one of these holes, okay? And then I ran a bolt, not this bolt, but just a bolt through it without the back piece in there, and I pinched this. Then I clamped it as well. So I had a bolt and a clamp holding it. That left me drill these two holes right through this piece. So I knew they were gonna line up, so everything is tight. So I got those done, and then I came back and I finished with this hole. That way I know all these are lined up. So once those were done, then I came in. I'll show you guys. I think it's too bright. These two holes, that one and that one, once this was all bolted in place, I then brought this back piece in, bolted it, sandwiched it in there, okay? And then I took a center punch. If you guys don't have center punches, I would suggest you get center punches. And what they do is, instead of guessing where the center of a hole is, the outside is the diameter of your bore, and then that tit or that high point on there is your actual center point, so it centers it. So I took one of those that fit snug in that hole, right? There we go. And I dropped the center punch in, made my marks, knocked those holes through, and what you see is what you get. So once again, this is the switch suspension hood hinge mounted on the firewall. So a plate will bolt to this that will get welded to the hood. These are slotted so you can adjust forward, front to back. Yeah. And then your left or right will be when you locate this on here. When you locate your hood onto here, you can gap it on both sides, right? And then take this tire out, crawl up under here, tack it to the bottom of the hood, and fingers crossed everything should work. Your air shocks mount from here to here and assist with the lifting. So all in all, the other side honestly will probably go, the other side will go a lot quicker. The other side will be, you know, I would say half an hour to an hour. And then we'll be done. So, that's what we got. The truck, I gotta clean up now, but the truck is looking good. Front shock mounts are now done, which I should go over and show you guys those. The front shock mounts turned out really well. You can see them down in there. I'll go up from the bottom up. I'll roll this back. Bear with me 1 second. There you go. Tighten it down there. But I've made these upper tabs. So the upper shock mount is mounted there to the chopping block control arms. Oh, hope I didn't break my drill bit. Trump. And then under here, what am I doing? Under here, I made these spacers. Made those spacers, and it mounts right in there like so. Everything needs clean, man. This is so dusty from working on it. But so far so good. So after the hood hinges are done, all right. My chiropractor makes those noises before he cracks your back. He goes, and he cracks your back. So, punch list. This is a punch list to get me rolling as far as out the door running, and then there's a bunch of finishing stuff that needs done. So we're doing the hood hinges. Once the hood hinges are done, we're going to move down here to the battery relocation to the bed. Once that's done, I think at that point we'll move to mount and plumb the fuel tank, or at least mount it. We'll probably just mount it. Then tear everything apart, paint the rear frame rails. Once the frame rails are painted, then we'll reassemble everything. We can do things like the brake lines, install my rear cab mounts. The bedside supports are going to be bolted on so I can paint a while. Exhaust, that doesn't affect anything. I might have to weld some tabs on, but I can clean off paint and do that in certain little spots. So we are getting there. We are getting there. So anyway, we'll stop rambling. Got these transport wheels, brand new tires. Don't think I'm going to use them though. I'm not sure. am really digging these 15-inch wheels with some sidewalls. These rallies are 15 by 8s. There's 235, 75, 15 tires, and I don't know. I just think it looks tough. The other thing, which I almost forgot, new headlights. Okay, the truck's gonna be black. It's gonna get scratched up, scuffed and shot just all in the satin black or flat black, probably satin. And the headlights look killer in yellow. Wish I could find yellow covers. If anyone knows of yellow covers for the roof lights instead of those orange ones to match the yellow headlights, I'd be super happy if you could tell me. So